Hello and welcome back to Community Roundup, sponsored by Brad's Furniture and Appliances. I'm Jordan Prentice, and today I'm joined by Jenna Morland, host of Energeticcity.ca's Before the Peace podcast, which is just approaching its 1-year anniversary, correct?
Yeah, which is hard to believe.
It's crazy how time flies.
It does, yeah.
So Jenna, for those who don't know, can you tell us a little bit about what Before the Peace is all about?
Yeah, Before the Peace is an Indigenous Voices podcast. We speak with some well-known leaders of Treaty 8 and some not so well-known. And we kind of just do a deep dive into history, the history of themselves or maybe the history of the region. It really depends on the guest and kind of the theme of each episode. But yeah, that's kind of what it's about.
Awesome. And why do you think it's important to cover this topic?
Oh, I think it's extremely important. This podcast is perfect for people who want to learn about Indigenous culture and Indigenous communities around the North Peace without the pressure of the learning aspect. Just getting to listen whenever you feel like it, while you're driving or while you're just laying at home and relaxing. It's a good opportunity to learn and grow, I guess.
Absolutely. And what, I mean, it's been almost a year, like we were saying, so can you tell me what have some highlights been for you and Trey? Trey is the other host.
So I would say definitely one of me and Trey's highlights is Healing the Hoop. We went to Healing the Hoop at the end of May, beginning of June of this year, and that was such a huge impact on us, and we actually talk about it a lot on the episodes. We actually have 2 episodes of Healing the Hoop where we talk to all of the keynote speakers. It was such a fantastic experience, and I really took so much away from it. I gained so many relationships from that time, and that's definitely a highlight. And then also I try to sweat as well.
Wow.
So that's definitely a highlight. I've learned so much over the past year, and I think just like building the relationships that we have and learning, I guess that has been like the biggest takeaway for sure.
Well, it's absolutely very important to learn the history and the culture of like where we live here in Fort St. John and in the Peace River area. There's so much to learn.
I'm Métis too,
cool.
and so is Trey's, and we don't have a lot of our history known, so we're kind of learning a lot about ourselves as well in this process, and we're pretty open about that on the podcast, and we hope that people will come on this journey with us because it's been a journey.
Well, it's so amazing. And with that being said, can you tell me like what some challenges you guys have faced might be?
Hosting a podcast, creating a podcast is a lot harder than one might think. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And we traveled to a lot of the different Indigenous communities around the area. So there's a lot of traveling involved and a lot of research and just a lot of time it takes. But it's honestly been one of the best experiences of my life. So I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Oh, I love that. That's great, Jenna. And just my final question for you, like, you've kind of covered it a little bit already, but like, what do you guys hope to accomplish with Before the Peace?
Well, we're just going to continue doing what we're doing, talking to different people and hearing their stories, really listening. And I mean, yesterday we went out to the Doig and we had a really great experience out there. So that's just a little teaser of what's coming up soon. But yeah, I think I really want to accomplish this as a snippet of reconciliation. Reconciliation is kind of a bit of a buzzword, but it's also necessary. So I think this podcast is a great way for people to practice reconciliation, and that's what I hope for the future.
Awesome. And can you actually just tell for our viewers, where can they find your podcast?
Oh, they can listen like anywhere there is podcasts. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You can actually head to Energeticcity.ca/Before the Peace or Energeticcity.ca/podcasts because we have a couple other podcasts on the go as well. So lots of different ways that you can listen.
Thanks so much for joining me
Thank
today,
you for having
Jenna. Of course. So there you have it, folks. Be sure to check out Before the Peace, an Indigenous Voices podcast. I know I'll be checking it out for sure. My name is Jordan Prentice, and I've been joined by Before the Peace host Jenna Morland. You've been watching Community Roundup, sponsored by Brad's Furniture and Appliances, and we'll see you next time.